Hello, super friends. Welcome. Happy Friday. I'm back and I'm still a little bit under the weather. I don't know if I have cold or allergies or general malaise. I don't know what it is that I'm suffering from, but I'm a little froggy and my voice is a little squeaky. So I will ask you to bear with me as I offer our message for the day. Today's message, I feel like we could go off in a couple of different directions based upon what I saw in meditation, but I'm going to start with actually a kind of a funny the question itself wasn't funny, but the energy that I felt around it was kind of humorous. I've had any number of people coming into my direct messages in social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. I'm not a TikToker. I'm barely an Instagrammer for those of you who are looking for me there. I tend to do a lot more on Facebook because I'm old school. But I've had all sorts of people coming into my direct messages with all sorts of interesting intentions and questions. And this particular question was it was generic. It was like, well, why are you doing this? But it had the feeling of that kind of energy, like, why the hell are you doing this, weirdo? But it was spoken with genuine curiosity. And so my answer to him, it was somebody that I grew up with or I knew from childhood. And I think there was a little bit of tension around religion, specifically Catholicism versus what I'm doing and how it goes against my religious upbringing, which is true and not. I am not, I don't identify as Catholic. I don't identify as Christian. I identify as someone who is deeply connected to spirit and Mama Earth, someone who's deeply connected to the divine feminine and the divine masculine. I don't believe we have one without the other. I believe our world is very out of balance and we have been very, very masculine heavy. And we are moving into a new time and a new era because we are damn near dead as a planet because of the heaviness of the masculine and the lack of balance in the two. And so it both goes against my upbringing, but also it really brings my upbringing into balance. I believe that we cannot have one without the other. I believe that there is no divine masculine, there is no God without goddess, there is no spirit without Mama Earth. We cannot exist without the balance. And so that is one answer to my why. I feel like I'm very much here as part of the spiritual awakening that I feel like is happening all over the world, the rise of the divine feminine. For some of you, that looks like earth and witchcraft and spell casting and connecting with your inner witch. For some of you, that looks like Mary Magdalene and the divine feminine in the Abrahamic traditions. For some of you, that looks like Inanna. For some of you, it looks like any goddess, Kali. I mean, I have a deck of the divine feminine where you can choose your own adventure. You can choose your own goddess to guide you for the day. And so there's any number of ways to tap into the divine feminine and bring it forward, whether you are masculine or feminine. So that's sort of a generic answer for him around what my why is, just rebalancing the feminine with the masculine so that we can perhaps bring our planet into balance. But the why underneath that, I mean, that's like sort of the global, the broad picture of my why. And it's not really my personal why per se, other than I was quite literally tapped on the shoulder and called to this work. Like, you will go and do this now, which is like the literal why I'm here. I probably would not be getting on camera 3 times a week on YouTube in a public forum to discuss my spiritual beliefs and the things that I channel in meditation without a really big push from my guides and from the universe. I am not somebody who enjoys being on camera. So I'm doing this because I'm supposed to. And the supposed to is not coming from the patriarchy and from culture. The supposed to is coming from deep inside of myself. It's coming from my heart and it's telling me, you're going to do this now. And I don't still yet know where exactly I'm planning on going from this place, this public YouTube channel. But I'm just trusting. I am personally in a place of transition and I'm trusting where it is that I'm going. The next layer is actually going to bring me into the message for the day here, the channeled message that came through. And that is because I'm a cycle breaker. And this is really about breaking cycles, not just inside of myself and in my family and in my ancestral patterns, but this is about breaking the cycle of toxic patriarchy that has really, in my belief, ruined where we are. It's ruined religion, organized religion, which that's okay. I'm okay. I believe we are actually in this great transition period of the dissolution of organized religion and the rise of true connectivity. And even though I sit on the board of my very liberal, very open-minded, open-hearted church, if that needs to come apart so that people can connect deeply, or if that needs to be expanded so people can connect deeply, awesome, but I'm not attached to the form that it takes. The only thing that I am attached to is bringing as many humans as I can into connectivity with their own divinity, connectivity with their own heart, connectivity with their own truth. And it's because I'm being pushed from behind and above and below and told, go, you are going to be doing this now. So with that said, I'm going to close my eyes here. Actually, first, I'm going to take a sip of water. Mm. I'm hearing somebody ask me about, oh, there's the frog. Mm. I'm hearing something about like the personal cycle breaking, like the familial cycles that I have broken. And I'll talk about that some more. I don't want to get bogged up in that here in my personal story, but know that my ancestral line, in my ancestral line, there is addiction, there's illness, there is unwellness. there's a lot. There's also a lot of good and a lot of beauty as well. So it's both. It's both and. But the cycles that I have broken on my familial lines are also cultural. I mean, you can look at my life. I am clear across the country from my family who are all very close together. I had two children without a partner. I have not had a very traditional trajectory, even though a lot of me is very beige and bland. I'm a soccer mom. So it's innate in me to bust things up that don't belong in me, and I don't know where it came from except maybe a gift from spirit, and sometimes it feels like a curse. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I just want my mommy, and it's not the mommy that I've ever known, but it's that universal mother that I've had to learn to be to myself, and I'm here to teach you how to do that for yourself as well, and to give you roots in religion, Christianity, Judaism, world religion. I feel like so much of the new age or the new place that we're in without organized religion is really disembodied. We've lost our foundation in saying no more to organized religion. And again, not without good reason, but the disillusionment of organized religion means that we've lost our legs. And as people are searching for spirituality, as people are searching for connectivity, I feel like there's not a lot of foundation, not a lot of, I don't know, terra firma to sink your roots in. It used to be that, you knew your roots, you knew your spiritual roots, you knew doctrine. You knew, and doctrine becomes dogma, right? But you had a foundation, and that foundation you could build from. And I feel like so many of us lost that foundation, or the foundation was really rocky, and so we're trying to build our spirituality from the neck up. And it's really hard. I just keep hearing, oh, the 5D, I'm in the 5D. And it's really hard to even know what that means unless you are deeply rooted in your humanity, in the 3D, in our human forms. And so the work here is to connect you fully with your beautiful, messy humanity so that you can connect fully with your inner divinity, and you can go forth and break all of the cycles, all of the patterns, all of the wounding in your own personal being, and live the life that is truest and freest and most full of love for yourself. So I hope that that answers your question, my friend in the DMs. And I hope that it maybe answers some questions for you. And now for real, I'm going to take a sip of water, and I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to start listening, and telling you what I hear. Okay. So going into the energy of the cycle breakers, of those of you who are feeling, I'm picking up on, I've picked up on, I'm picking up on the energy of a group of cycle breakers. And for some of you, you're breaking patterns in your own system. You're at a point in your own life where everything is either in the midst of changing, or that some things have to change, and and yet you're like being dragged down. You're being like dragged through the mud. There's like an element of, I'm kicking and screaming, I know I need to change this. I'm uncomfortable as all fucking get out. It needs to change. It needs to change. These are ancestral, right? So I'm over here on the left, and this feels like ancestral patterning that's in your system, that's ruling your roost, that's taking over, or has been running the show, driving the bus. And you're being like dragged down the road and kicking and screaming, and you want to let go, but you haven't been able to let go yet. And yet you also identify, like, this road, this pattern, this experience, because you've done it before. You already have evidence in your personal bank, right? So in your like lifetime currency, in your present lifetime currency, I'm not even talking about past lifetime currency, in your present lifetime currency, you have evidence in the bank that you can break cycles, whether they are bad habits or whether they are familial cycles. Some of you have moved away and established lives away from your family of origin. Some of you have cut off your family of origin. Some of you have cut off one person or another. Some of you were supposed to be a banker, and instead you are an artist. Some of you, like, there's the not good spostas, right? There's the spostas that are kind of fun. Like, I'm supposed to do that, but I'm not going to do it. But there are some deeply rooted spostas that you have already given up, that you've already let go of. And so you already know somewhere in you that you have evidence in your personal bank that you can do this. You can end this bad habit. You can break this cycle. You can end the relationship. You can end the job. You can change the career, like whatever it is, whatever it is. And for some of you, this is like deep family, deep cycles. These are cycles on your ancestral lines that you've been shedding and shedding and shedding. But this is like the jump into the next timeline. This is the jump into the next version of your life. And there's some part of you that's just dragging back and holding back. It's like there's a cartoon image of like somebody's heels in the mud, and like all the mud flying up. There's a lot of mud going on. There's a lot of stuck in the mud kind of energy here right now. And so For you, if this is you, if you identify as this cycle breaker or someone who's trying to break a cycle or cycles in your system right now, this is you with your heels in the mud and the mud flying up, or even if this is you like, I've stepped just away, but it's right back there. And it might just be easier to go back to the old, uncomfortable, horrible things because I'm really afraid of the new thing because it's unknown. So that this may be a bit cliched, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know, the shit that you know is infinitely uncomfortable, but it's what you know. So we tend to want to stay there, even if where we're going is the most beautiful, joyful, happy, open, spacious, and free place your body, your being has ever known. It's still the unknown. And so it feels even more frightening than the garbage that we have been living in. And so even if you've just gotten away, even if you've just stepped into this next part, there's still this draw because you're in this next part and it's like a little wobbly here. It's a little wobbly in the new shoes, or you're still in the old shoes going, I don't know. That looks really big and scary, and I don't know what that is. And so, regardless of whether you're in the mud or you've just stepped out of the mud and now you're in this wobbly space, I want you to find a moment, a place in time and space. I want you to find, and I'm going to be quiet for a moment, and just find a moment, even if it was just a brief moment, even if that brief moment is right now, where you gave up the ghost, where you got away, where you made a change and it was scary, but it was good. I want you to find that place. I'm seeing I'm seeing someone who like moved and switched schools and they were terrified about moving from the community they knew into a new community. I'm seeing like that. So it's a little boy and he's probably like fourth or fifth grade-ish, is who I'm seeing. But that's one moment. So they don't have to be current. They can be old or they could be very current. You change jobs and you thought was going to be miserable, but it was great, or you thought you were taking a downgrade, but it was actually an energetic upgrade. You all have evidence in the bank. And I just want you to remember that you can do this. Your body already knows how to do this. You succeeded once, and you're going to succeed again. And I'm just going to take the collective knowingness and I'm just going to bring it down right into the root of the collective, which is kind of a sticky part, the root, because the root, it's where I'm being shown to put it, by the way, to just like plant the evidence here in your root. The root is where we hold a lot of these tribal familial wounds. It's where our tribal stories live in our bodies. And as we grow up, as we sort of rise up the elevator into our full connectivity and our full expansion, as we rise up, we begin to pull away from the root and we get into yesod, we get into the second chakra, the sacral chakra. It's the sacrament of communion where we're one on one with the world. But this is also the place where our wounded child lives. And so as we break away from our families, we move into this wounded child place. We move, and it's also the home of the healthful child, and it's also the home of your own personal, healthy, and whole parent, the good mother. So as we pull away from the tribal stories and start becoming more of our own person, we start to feel like danger, danger, danger. And so I want to remind you that that feeling of giving up what you know is that same feeling of danger, danger, danger. I knew this. This was what it was supposed to be. This was how I was taught it was supposed to be. This is innate in my being. And so as we pull away from it, our body starts going danger, danger, danger. And I want to let you know that that's actually a good thing, that it's actually by design, that as we move more into our own personal power, as we move more toward our own personal freedom, it's actually by design that we should feel that danger, danger, danger. You're pulling away from the tribe. You're pulling away from safety. You're pulling away from security. You're pulling away from what you know. Because our tribe, our people, our ancestors, our wounds are designed to keep us safe, to hold us in safety. And so when we are leaving safety, even if that safety was never safe, our nervous system kicks in and tells us it's bad and it's wrong and it's not good. And I want to tell you that this is where most of our society gets stuck and then goes to therapy for the next 30 years, telling the therapist the same story over and over again because of their relationship with their mother, their relationship with their siblings, their relationship with their family, and they want this part of them to feel better. They're trying to make it feel better in this moving up from root to yasod, this root to sacral chakra. You're trying to make yourself feel better here, and I'm telling you that it's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to feel that discomfort and do it anyway and choose it anyway so we can keep moving up and up the elevator into our highest form of connectivity, into the highest embodiment of who we are meant to be in this world, both in human body and in and soul and spirit. So that discomfort is actually a good thing. It means that you're doing it right. We don't want you to stop there, though. We want you to go all the way through. So if you are in that place of moving from the mud into the unknown and you're holding back here in the shit and the discomfort and the I don't know if I could do it, I don't know if I trust myself, I don't know. I want you to just go into the uncertainty because I promise you what's here for you is moving forward. And whether it's comfortable or not, whether it's where you're going to stay or not, it's where you are meant to go so that you can make the next right choice. But let it happen. Let your heels stop being dragged back. Allow yourself to come forward into the unknown and stay in this place and see what's here for you. The feeling is that there's this beautiful white light. It's the light of the spirit coming down to hold you in safety here. And that's what you're being invited into also, is this feeling of trusting in more than what you know, because what you know is so small compared to what spirit knows for you, compared to what's actually possible for you. So move yourself into that wobbly place. I'm seeing the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is a card of like the deepest heartbreak. It's like it actually makes me want to cry because I know this card so well. I know this feeling so well. And some of you have heard me say this or have done this with me in meditation, but let your heart break all the way. It's like the feeling is to get from being stuck in the mud into the next place, we have to let our heart break all the way open so that we can move to the next place. And I promise you, the next place is going to be so far less heartbreaking than the place that you've been. It's going to be so much more powerful, even if it's not the place you stay. And we actually don't want you to stay here in the sacral chakra. We want you to move up into your heart. We want you to move into into the heart. We want everything attuned to the heart. But the only way we can do it from these places where we're stuck, from the patterns that we're stuck in, is to recognize that this is misery and to stop trying to make it okay and to let your heart break all the way open so that you can move into the light and see what's actually there. The feeling that it's another card, and I think this is just the way this is going to go now. I'm not drawing cards. I'm not drawing cards beforehand. I'm just like, this is the way your collective is communicating with me, and it doesn't always happen this way, but I'm gonna take it. I'm seeing the Lovers. The Lovers is traditionally a card of decision making. So you're letting your heart break. It's that Three of Swords. It's the heartbreak energy. You're cracking all the way open. And where do we come next? We come into the light. We come into the Lovers. And for some of you, yeah, it may mean that your heart has to break all the way open before you can move toward the lover who is meant for you, before you can move toward your next partnership, your divine counterpart. And for some of you, it means that, but there is a bigger meaning than that, because underneath the traditional, in the traditional decks, the Lover's card was the choice. It means that there's a decision that needs to be made, but we don't want to make that decision in the place of heartbreak. We don't want to make decisions when we're in grief. We don't want to make decisions when we're coming from a place of despair. That's not a healthy place to decide anything from. We want to come all the way into the light. We want the light of spirit to shine down on us, even if we feel wobbly, even if we don't feel comfortable, because this place is new and it's exposed and it's unknown and it's vulnerable. This is actually the place that we want to make a choice from. Our heart is open, it's spacious, it's fresh, it's new. All things are possible here. And there's an element also, and I'm being shown to just energetically to use the element of metal, like the sword of truth, the ace of swords, to come down and just cut away anything remaining here. I heard somebody say, are you cutting the cord? I am not cutting anyone's personal cords. I'm not cutting any cords for anyone's relationships, be they familial or ancestral. I'm just kind of cutting away the cobwebs, like the kind of the gauzy stuff between the muckety muck and the heartbreak and this place of clarity. Only you can choose to cut a cord, to sever a relationship, to end something. That's for you on the personal level to decide. And if it's something you want to do with me, we can work together in that capacity. You can reach out to me one-on-one and we can discern if that's right for you. However, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of cutting away some of the noise, cutting away the cobwebs here so that we can just be fully in this new container, this open and spacious container, and we can make the next right decision from here. And that's what this feels like here. That's what the Lover's card feels like, whether it's about a relationship or about your life path, whatever you're trying to decide, whatever you are trying to set yourself free from, and to come into an open space of discernment, of decision making. It wants to be made from this place. The light wants to be shining down. Everything wants to be available to be seen. But there's this feeling of, and this came up in our last reading as well, our last message as well, of wanting to know, and this is like a very human thing, like I need to know how it's going to turn out before I make the choice, before I can leap into, and I'm seeing the Fool over here. The Fool is the card of new beginnings, and sometimes it can be the card of like looking before you leap, or leaping before you look. But it's also really the card to me that indicates, okay, the cycle is over and we are in a new beginning now. And so we want you to make that decision from an enlightened place, but I'm being told to just really let you know, so that you can feel it deep down in your bones, that There is no way of predicting the future here. And you're actually getting in your own way. You're getting in your own way of your own spaciousness and your own freedom. You're getting in the way of the next right decision by trying to figure out, trying to predict the future. Like you're very delightful, very useful ego that lets you get to work on time and lets you like know what you want to eat and lets you know how to make some decisions in your life. We need to soften that ego here. This is not the time for the ego to need to know what's next. This is the time for surrender. This is the time for trust. And this is the time for really like I'm hearing, and I don't even like to use these words, but I'm hearing blind faith. That's probably going to be for someone specific here, like blind faith. Like I trust that where I'm going next is the next place I'm meant to go. And I'm saying this because I promise you that even if the next choice you make is the wrong one, you get to choose again. And that's what I think this message is really all about here. Like we are all so like bound up and restricted because we're like, oh, like what should, like what if it's the wrong choice? What do I do? And so we get pulled back into the old uncomfortable bullshit yucky stuff that we're trying to get out of. We go back there because we start to get really constricted here, like, oh, what if I make the wrong decision? What if this isn't the right thing? What if I do it wrong? What if I'm just going to go back. And so what I'm being shown to remind you here is that the only decision that you're making is the next right decision. And if that next right decision turns out not to be the rightest one, you get to choose again. But you get to trust yourself and you get to trust the divine, and you don't need to predict the future. You don't need to know all of the possible outcomes before you can make a choice, because if you're spending your time and your energy trying to decide what the best possible outcome is, I can already feel how it brings us back into overwhelm and it puts us right back here at that Three of Swords. And so we want you to get to the new timeline. We want you to get to the new cycle. We want you to get to the new place. And the way you're going to do that is to trust yourself to come all the way into the light. You're going to trust yourself to lean back into the loving arms of the universe, to lean into the light spirit, to lean into that evidence in the bank that we just landed here, like, oh, I know that I can make the next right decision for myself. And I know that if it turns out to be not the best decision in the moment, then I trust myself to make the next right decision after that. But it's time to move forward from an aligned and enlightened place. I want to get you out of the box. I want to get you out of the mire. I want to get you out of the patterns, and I want you to get into this wobbly place and to let the light shine and to trust the wobble and trust the evidence that you have in the bank and trust yourself to move into the Fool, to move into the new beginning, trusting yourself to make the next right decision and the next right decision and the next right decision. If you get it wrong, you get to try again. It's the beauty of being a messy human. It's the beauty of being a messy human aligned with your soul and your soul's purpose. We want to get the muck out of the way. We want to get you out of the shit that's kept you bound in your old ways, in your old patterns, in your old dissatisfying life. There's a reason you're here today. There's a reason you found me. There's a reason you found this message. And it's because you're ready to make that next right step. And know that it may not feel like, it might not feel like it's coming from a grounded place. The ground may wobble underneath you, but just let that light shine down. Trust yourself, trust the evidence in the bank, and go. Because moving forward is so much better than staying in the old shit. I promise you. I promise you. And once again, I am my own medicine here. And I'm going to say thank you to my angels and ancestors and guides for being here with us today. I'm going to say thank you to you for really co-creating this message. I feel like the more of you who are tuning in, and I can feel you, and I'm so grateful for you. The more of you who are actually tuning in, the richer the stew, the richer the energy that I get to pull from and draw from to create these messages. So hopefully you will find yourself in what's here today. Again, as always, if you don't see yourself here, don't fit yourself in. Leave it behind, take only what resonates, and come back to me for the next message, and we'll see if it's yours, if not today. I'm going to ask you to please like and share and subscribe and comment and tell me things. I'm contemplating maybe doing a couple of live meditations each week. I've got all these ideas moving through, and I'm waiting for that right one to land. And when I say that, I'm ready to take the next step. I just want the next step to be aligned. And so I know that I've got the light shining down here now, and the next step is coming soon. So thank you. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye bye.